Most TCG business owners quit their business at exactly the wrong moment. They hit that rough patch where sourcing or marketing seems particularly difficult, and the whole thing seems like it's falling apart. I've been there for Tap for Games, but I built a model to help me zoom out so that I could see what's actually going on, and say with confidence that no, it's actually just one part of the business that's face down in the mud. And I call it the infinite curve stack. And in this video, I'm going to show you what it is that I'm talking about and how you can use it in your own business. Hi there, hello, my name is Josh. I run Tap for Games out of my basement. I am an online reseller for Magic the Gathering. And if you're interested in Magic the Gathering sales and how the business works on a daily basis, give me a subscribe and follow along. Probably seen some version of this before. It's called the emotional cycle of change. When you start something new, you usually move through the stages. First off, we have our uninformed optimism, where everything is going fantastic and perfect and you can see no downsides. And that's as soon as you hit reality, we start to go to informed pessimism, where everything begins to be hard and a challenge for us. And that's followed usually by the valley of despair, where everybody quits. And that's usually what happens with a lot of the different types of new skills we try to obtain and acquire. But if you manage to stick through it, you get to this stage called informed optimism. This particular stage is where we understand the hardships, but are beginning to see the path forward, the reality, and the direction we need to take. And if we continue on this far enough, we should get to our successes and our fulfillment stage of the emotional curve. This model is helpful, but it has a problem. You can only have one curve. One project, one skill, one emotional roller coaster. But a TCG business is a stack of parallel skills. There's marketing, sales, product acquisition, all sorts of different things that go into this. And each one of them has their own emotional curve, and they're not always in sync. So if you're only looking at it through one lens or one graph, it's very easy to feel that the whole business is failing, even though only one area of the business is actually in the valley. This is where the infinite curve stack comes in. The infinity symbol represents our learning, experiments, measuring, improving, scale, and repeating as the business continues on indefinitely. Inside the infinity loop, each line represents one area of the business: marketing, sales, operations, product, finance, and people, all moving through their own emotional cycle of change. It's a way to see the whole stack instead of just looking at it from one curve. When I started Tap for Games, I was definitely in uninformed optimism. I was hyped to sell my Magic cards. I went online, I went to TCGP, created an account, uploaded cards, and started getting that dopamine hit from the sales that were coming in. And I was starting to begin to think, man, this is so easy. And that's kind of where reality began to hit me. With the platform, in order to get access to the tools, you need to hit level 4. And I was sitting there manually keying every single card, and it was taking me a very long time because I got overly excited and began to upload slews of cards because they kept increasing my cap. And that's where I was in informed pessimism. And I slowly started to slide into the valley of despair. And here's what I didn't realize at the time. I was riding multiple curves all at once. Operations was deep in the valley because I was still learning how to inventory and categorize and make sure that orders are filled and moved along quickly and cost effectively. Sales, I would have considered was an informed optimism. I understood how to get them at the current level of the business I was at. But the marketing, that barely existed. I couldn't advertise within those envelopes with TCGP, so there was no way to really help people get back to the store unless they remembered that I was on the platform. But because I only had the one emotional curve model in my head, I thought the entire business was failing. So let me walk you through where I feel I am at on the curves right now. So right now, with marketing, I'd probably put that somewhere between informed pessimism and the valley of despair. And sometimes I feel like I'm in both camps at once. YouTube itself is a bigger time sink than I thought, and the QR codes that I put inside of my packages don't seem to be driving a whole lot of traffic to the website itself. So my takeaway here is that it feels like I know that I need to get better at marketing, but the reality is I have no real way to do that I feel is being successful today. Sales, I feel like I'm in an informed optimism. I'm listed on 2 different sites, including my own direct store. And sales are coming in on a daily basis, so that makes me feel good and I feel like I know what I'm doing from a pricing standpoint and from a product standpoint. People are interested in what I have listed. Operationally, I feel like I am very much on the success side and fulfillment side of the business. Being able to bring in my own career to be successful really helped me kind of set up my inventory rather quickly. Even though I started off pretty bad at the beginning, I was able to find systems and platforms in order to help me make sure that my inventory system moves much smoother. And I even made a video about that. When it comes to the actual products themselves, speaking specifically to sourcing, I feel like I'm in a little bit of the valley of despair. I know a lot of people that are out there that are getting good prices on bulk and other areas, but I myself have not been quite as successful. Where I have managed to be successful has been largely in breaking certain sealed products like Commander decks or looking at the Jumpstart Foundation type products. In the finance category, I feel like I have informed optimism. I'm doing pretty well in terms of tracking my P&L. It's not over cumbersome, and I know where I am standing in terms of my profitability, which currently is not where I want it to be, even though I'm cash flowing in. That's where this whole Back to Black series had originated from. In the people category, heck, I don't even feel like I can say I've started that curve. I'm the only person that's actually doing the business right now. I don't really count this as anything other than uninformed optimism. So based on my quick synopsis of how I'm feeling, you can kind of see that I'm in different levels within the business. Each one of them is not always in the valley of despair, and some of them are in the success side of the curve. And I have to take that recognition that both sides of the business are in flux. And I have to remember that I need to work on the specific areas that are low while the other ones may be able to maintain for the time. Zooming out allows me to feel a little bit more fresh and energized going after the business. Now, why call it the infinite curve stack? The outer loops come from Simon Sinek's infinite game theory. That's kind of where I'm borrowing inspiration from. In business, there is no finish line. There is only the area in which you have decided to cease the business. And while this represents a good solid level 1 foundation, every time you level up your business, whether that be getting an LGS or moving to a warehouse, etc., it's like moving to a brand new loop of your level of business. All the same curves are there, but they reset to the new higher standard and level of friction that you're going to encounter in the new business cycles. And as you hit these advanced stages, you'll be right back to certain levels of uninformed optimism and going right back through as you start to learn these different aspects. For example, I don't have an HR team. I've never done payroll. That's going to put me in a whole new level if I get to that stage. Additionally, if I get to a point where I can get distribution, that's a whole nother curve that I'm going to have to unpack. So let's make this one more useful for you. Step 1, write down all 6 categories. Then on the curves themselves, write down where you are. Are you in the valley? Are you successful? Are you uninformed yet? Then, after you've got all of that kind of documented, look at the one that's kind of in the valley of despair and design 1 or 2 experiments to try and get yourself moving along that curve. This way, it's not a full rebuild of the business. It's just 1 experiment and 1 curve that you are working towards manipulating to get to success. So when you do this, you stop saying, everything is broken, and start thinking about just 1 area versus the whole thing. Focusing the effort in order to be successful is what's going to drive you along this path. For me, this business is an emotional competition. I'm fighting against my own fears and doubts as I move through my daily life, moving cards from my basement. And the infinite curve stack is just a way for me to emotionally map where I am as I navigate my day. This way, this roller coaster does not buck me out before I actually get started. If you felt that this framework was helpful, please give it a like. It would help a lot to get it out in the algorithm and let more sellers like us see this video. And if you enjoy talking about business in the TCG space, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.